to this episode of Dr. OJ Speaks. Today we're talking about settling in relationships. So how do you know whether or not you're settling? I mean, what does settling looks like? Let me give an example. Settling looks like you've been single for a while, you've been praying and fasting. Well, I don't know about fasting, but you've really been expecting to meet someone, an ideal partner, and then all of a sudden you meet someone who is not your ideal mate. Ego, married man who has issues in his relationship, and then you just feel like that's the best you can do, and you go into that relationship with him, you put your heart, your emotions, your resources, your gifts, your talents and treasures, let's just put it that way, yes, your gifts, your talents and treasures into the relationship, thinking, okay, well, this is probably the best I can do. I mean, don't get me wrong, those kinds of relationships, most women will tell you that most men who are married and in all those extramarital affairs, they really know how to probably treat you very well. So most likely what they're doing for you is what they're not doing for their wives, or they have just learned over time from interacting with their significant other how to treat a woman. So now they come to you, they're like well packaged, well put together, not so rough around the edges like a single guy who hasn't had that experience. So that would be an example of settling. I don't know, what do you think? Will that be an example of settling? I don't know. Well, okay, you decide. So let me see another good example about settling is this. You're settling because there's pressure from family, pressure from society. You're so tired of being the bridesmaid, now you just want to be the bride. So you end up with a guy that you don't check all the way through. You don't get to know him. You don't do the needful, like basically due diligence, go into the relationship with dating expectations, enter into the courtship phase, because dating then courtship, I learned that those are two different things. Did you guys know that? That a guy dates you, but then he courts you when he's ready to really commit. So when you're dating a guy and you're dating endlessly and there is no appearance of courtship, there's certain characteristics of courtship that don't exist in dating. Dating is more like data collection, like data entry. Enter, okay, we vibe. Enter, okay, he's a good communicator. Enter, okay, he's a big spender, he's a little spender, he's stingy, he's this, he's that, he's financially responsible. All of those data you will collect on the dating phase. Now when you get into the courtship phase is when you begin to put all of those data that you've collected, you begin to analyze by putting them in real life scenarios that allows you guys to see whether or not you're a good fit. Did I just school you what? So are you settling for dating as opposed to courtship? That's another settlement that people often find themselves. And that's where you see women talk about, we've been together for 5 years and he hasn't proposed. That is because, sister love, you have not been observing your environment. Emotional intelligence have not kicked in to let you know that boom, 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 awareness, this guy has kept you in the dating circle forever and he has not transitioned you over, or let me not say he, because it's not really always up to him, right? You guys have not both transitioned the relationship into courtship. So guess what? Don't expect engagement proposal anytime soon. You have to know where you're at in your relationship to determine, am I settling with this guy for 5 years in the dating circle, or am I finally at this place where I'm ready to move on to courtship, because that's what I really want. Now, if dating is what you want to perpetually do, please, to each his own. I will never ever judge you. How? Why? Me? For where? Date all you want, but for those of you who are really serious about getting into lifelong committed relationships, understand the difference. Don't settle for dating a guy while you can actually transition into courting him, or he courting you, because he has to court you, or you sort of have to court each other. I don't even know, the world has changed, but the standard is a man gets to court a woman, and he courts her. He shows like his intentions to not just her. At that courtship stage, he's no longer about her alone. He has to prove to her, her family members, her village people, anyone else who is tied to her that would play a role in their future. He has to show that he is coming there in good faith and he's up to the task of being husband and all the rest. All right, That's settlement number 2. Now, settlement number 3 is we got together, we get pregnant, we roll around the head, we make, and you know, I don't want to say any pregnancy is a mistake. I mean, pregnancies could be mistakes, don't get me wrong. Pregnancies could be mistakes, but the children that come from those pregnancies, they're not mistakes, because every child has a purpose to fulfill. Understand? If they made it here, like, yeah, they made it, like, you don't understand. That sperm and that egg, they fertilized and they created the embryo, and that child made it through gestational period and got here. That child has a purpose. But is that enough reason for you to settle into a lifelong commitment with that person? That's one way that I feel people settle, like, oh, I just want to do right by her. Okay, uncle, you want to do right by her. I mean, that relationship is already set for destruction. Not saying that some relationships don't end up working out, though. Some of them end up working out perfectly, like they figure themselves out. They kind of engineer their way backwards, you know, from pregnancy to dating, and then they now date, and then they quite, you know, they figure it out. But most people, 95% of those types of settlements don't end up working well for the two people. Like, most times the female who even got pregnant, maybe in that season she felt like, oh my God, what am I going to do? It's the rest of my life. I've shaped my family. After a while, you just get over it and be like, okay, I have a child. And this guy might not even be the person I want to be with. And then the guy who's trying to do right by you, after a few years, or even after he gets over that sense of duty, is like, oh God, what have I gotten myself into? And most guys like that end up just maybe cheating or just living very unfulfilled lives for the longest time, and they're so miserable. So please do not settle because of pregnancy. I beg you. It's not I don't know, it's not a kill switch. Let me just put it that way. You can still kind of walk your way, co-parent, raise the child, do the needful, ensure that that life is well supported, ensure that that life is well supported. But you guys can still go on to live amazing lives. Find your own soulmates, find your own mate, your ideal guy, girl, and just give that child a good chance, a fighting chance, rather than coming together out of obligation. So those are 3 ways that I believe people settle. What do men really want? What does it take to truly win the heart of a man? First of all, I'm going to tell you what it does not take, like what it is not. A lot of us think it's the BBL, it's the waist trainer, it's the makeup, it's the glam and all these things. Yes, those things are very good, and I'm going to say that very slowly because it comes at the bottom of the list for most men. Go figure. They want a woman, first of all, who is able to, guess what? Respect them. Men want, need, have the desire to live and thrive and breathe off of respect. And guess what? Respect is relative. And to most men, respect probably means not talking over them. Respect means letting them be heard in the relationship, like actually listening. Not, you know, women. I see, my sisters, I got you. I used to do this, and not really like listening to what they're saying so you can quickly respond, or you can give an excuse, or you can have a comeback, or you can have a you two did this. No, they just want to be heard, like hear what I am saying. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Like, they want to be respected enough for you to hear them, not just with your ears, with your heart, and just take what they want, what they're saying to you seriously. So men want to be respected in so many other ways. They want to be honored, like they want to be made to feel like they matter, like no matter how much money you're making, no matter how successful, no matter how you seem to have it all figured out, a man wants to feel like he is in your life, and he's not just his opinion matters, but his contribution is valued. So that is another thing. So respecting a man comes in different shades and sizes. You know, in my culture, Yoruba culture, Nigerian girl, of Nigeria, you know, we demonstrate respect, like, you know, the kneeling down, the all. It's not even all about that, because a woman can be doing all of this one and still be the most disrespectful person ever. So it's not about the heart with which you deal with a man. And that is how he would know that you truly value him, you honor his role as a man, or you honor him as a man, and he is seen as that, that person, that leader. Men just want to be respected. So whatever respect looks like to your man, you need to figure that out, and you need to give it to him in large doses. Like, that is the number one, or like, that is the biggest thing. As far as, based on my conversation, and this is talking to about over 10 guys, that is the one thing that really cuts across the board for them. So I really had to throw that one out there, because it was the most important thing to every man that I spoke to. And I'm like, okay, y'all want to be respected. What does that look like? What does that come across as? That comes across as whatever it needs to come across to that guy. Some guys just don't like you speaking loudly. Like, for me, I have a high-pitched voice, and when I get excited, I'm like, whoa! When I get angry, I'm like, whoa! And when but I'm learning now that if I'm gonna be in a committed relationship with the man of my dreams, I need to tailor myself to meet those needs. That's for me personally. You do what you need to do for yourself. But this is, if you're interested in being in a long-term committed relationship, whereby you're not just in that relationship or that marriage because you've managed to lock that man down with whatever. You are there with him because he truly wants to be there with you.
My name is Dr. Ohikosola Jinaru. I'm a beauty professional, med spa operator, franchise owner, and director of education at HD Pro Global Beauty Institute and Body Med Spa. As a mother of 3 boys and immigrant business owner, it is important for me to have a steady and sustainable source of income that transcends economic, government, or public health uncertainties and instability like the global pandemic we are still recovering from. That is why HD Pro Global has created multiple systems that allows my team and I to train, educate, certify, and establish independent med spa operators like us all over the globe. For more information, check out our website to attend a free webinar to get started on your path to continuous success, no matter what is going on in your part of the world. I cannot wait to meet you. Thank you.
All right, guys, I'm back. So we no longer can do with quality time, words of affirmation, gifts, physical touch, and acts of service. Now we have a brand new modified version of love languages. We have 7 new love languages that some experts believe that you need in the times that we're living in. The times have changed. I mean, we had the pandemic, people were isolated, they were on lockdown. So now that we're all out here in these streets, we no longer can use those 5. Now we need 7. This love thing and these experts and all their psychological things that they bring to us. But anyway, I'm not here to judge. I'm a psychology major, so I understand, like, research is being done. More information is coming to us daily, newly, as we continue to update our iPhones and our Androids. We also need to update our love languages, and Dr. OJ Speaks is going to bring that to you right now. First things, activity. A lot of people like to have activities like now as a love language, it is activity based. There are people who are interested in activities, so you kind of have to tie into their lifestyle. Some people like to be outdoors, active, doing things, traveling the world. A lot of millennials and Gen Zs and those generations with their letters ending the alphabet, you know them, X, Y, Z. They love to travel. They're like nomads. They don't want to stay in one place. Those people are very immersed in activity. So for them, if you're dating in a relationship with that generation, you're gonna have to modify a little bit and get into a lot of activities. We're talking about that. Number 2 is appreciation. It's a love language now. I thought it was a thing. Like, I thought just being appreciative, being thankful, having gratitude, you know, they say thankful. I don't know, just showing appreciation is a normal way of life. But apparently, it's a love language. I don't know if there's anyone who doesn't like to be appreciated, but there's some people who pay exceptional attention to appreciation in their relationships. It's a love language. It's a way that you get to cater to them. Like I said, this generation, the times we're living in, post-pandemic, now 2022 and beyond, love is different. So please get with the program. So out of our 7, we've mentioned activity, appreciation, and emotional connection. People are looking for emotional connection. I mean, That makes total sense though, guys. Listen, isolation, lockdown, separation has really, I think it's shifted the mindset of humans to begin to seek more of a connection with other humans. So now that we're out here in the streets again, we are all looking, well, not we are. Some people are very, very particular about emotional connection when it comes to picking a partner. So if you're the kind of person who is emotionally unavailable, you might find it hard to date in these times that we're in. Do you understand? So that's just one of the things. I'm going to talk about the other 4, but just hang tight and I will be right back to give you the final 4 of the 7 new, like Ochara, like chassis, like I don't even know what other language that you'll understand. But 7 new love languages that experts say that we need to put into consideration while dating in the 21st. We're still in the 21st century, but in 2022 and beyond. Stay tuned. All right, so we have 4 remaining new love languages. We talked about 3. We talked about the activity people. We talked about the emotional connection people. We talked about the appreciation people. Appreciation. Well, okay. I was gonna sing that King Sunny Ade song, growing up. Okay, let's just get back to it. So now we have other things that people talk about. We have the intellectual folks like me. Like, I am such a cerebral person. This one I can connect to. Intellectual connection is very important to me. Like, if you come to me, you're not speaking well, you're not connecting well, you're not vibing well up there, you're just opening your mouth and spewing diarrhea out of your mouth, and since I'm not making sense, I'm sorry, like, it can't work. Like, we gotta connect here, then, every other place. But first of all, we start from the, from where? So they're the intellectual folks like me who want to get into a relationship through intellectual connections. That's something you have to consider. So this new age is no longer just coming and showing up and saying whatever. You have to really have your A game to the cellular level. It looks like people are getting more to like the basics now. Physical touch. That part still remains consistent. It remains consistent. From the old version of love language to the new version, the physical touch is there. We have our physical folks. They want to be touched. They want to be felt. They want to hug you. They want to kiss on you. They want to hold your hand. So if you're the kind of person who just doesn't want to be, when you're not going to do good in that space. So you have to be mindful. So there are a lot of people, who want to have that physical connection with you in order for them to feel like they are in a relationship. Not that feel like in their relationship, that is important. Physical touch is important. So you cannot do long distance with that kind of person. Can you talk long distance? I don't know. Long distance relationships? Okay. That's another episode entirely that we're going to talk about, but let's focus on the 7 new love languages today. Number 6, we have the practical people, the pragmatic. Those ones, they are too practical. Like, everything has to make sense. You have to be able to relate to them and kind of you have to be able to interact with them on a very practical level. They don't want things that are elusive. They don't reach for aspirations that are not attainable. They're very practical. They want to make sure that their partner is able to do what they say they will do when they say they will do it. They want to be able to know that, when you set those goals with them, or when you're in a relationship with them, is it something that we can actually just see it happening, right? I don't know, but they're extremely practical in every way, So those people, I feel like you know what you're getting with them, like the expectations are clear cut. They already laid out to you, so there's no surprises there. So those are the practical folks. So we have our practical, we have our emotional people, we have our physical touch, we have our intellectual folks, my people. We have our folks who want to be appreciated, yes, and we have people who want to engage in activities. They want to go kickboxing with you, they want to go salsa dancing with you, they want to do all kinds of things with you. And last but not the least, we have our financial people. Where my financial, look, those are my number 1 people, like the financially savvy folks. That is number 7. I left that there for a reason. I took it to the last position for a reason, because I feel like that is, I don't know if it applies to everybody, but I feel like it applies to like 99% of people. The financial aspect, these are those of us, my village people, who want to make sure that the relationship provides financial security. Not from a taking standpoint, but ensuring that we all have what we need within a relationship financially. Okay, so the financial folks are the people who just are interested in, they make sure that your books are together. They do budgeting. They just, I don't know if they, so there's two sides to that financial thing. Let me talk about this real quick. They can be flamboyantly financially expectant, like they want you to be loud all the time, or they could be just really fiscally responsible, budgeting type, just really watching the pennies, making sure we're not wasting money, making sure we have all our investments in place, and those types of people. So financial responsibility for some people is a priority in a relationship. And I think it really should, because money makes the world go round. If you don't have money, I don't know what your relationship is going to look like. Like, really, at the end of the day, let's just be real. Money makes love sweeter. When money enters, love is sweet. Who was that, Davido? Yes, he knew what he was saying, and he actually knows what the real is. So for those of you who are out there still wondering love languages, I've given you all the 7 new ones that you need to make your relationships, your communication, your interaction work better in 2022 and beyond. And if you're having issues with whatever, well, you might just need to check and figure out what this person's love language is to see if you're dealing with the opposite of what you need to be dealing with. So you might just need to kind of swipe left on your relationship search if you and your partner are not communicating effectively via your love languages. And that's all I have for you today. So you guys are asking, right? I know at the beginning of the show I said I was going to share my love language. What is my love language? From the old genre, from the old one, that old school one, the one that we've suddenly put to the side. My love language is gifts. I love gifts. Forget that. Don't even tell me nothing. I love gifts and acts of service. I love acts of service because I'm a service-oriented person. I love gifts and acts of service. Every other thing kind of can trickle in, but those two, keep it coming. Well, with this new generation, my own is financial, number 1, intellectual, number 2, and physical touch. That is my top 3 for the new generation love languages. What are your love languages? Share with me below. Send it in my DMs. I want to learn about you. Let me know what your love languages are. I've given you mine, so now it's your turn to share yours with me. All right, until next time, my name is Dr. Oyinkansola Ajinadu, Dr. OJ, the MedSpa professor, and I will be back again next week with another episode of Dr. OJ Speaks. Love you guys.